people are watching tennis all over the world, but the things that I have gotten to see up close and personal and can maybe add some context to are the things that I saw in person. And one of those was Jenson Brooksby winning in Houston, which is one of the stories of the year. I know it's a little bit niche. It's an American guy on clay that again, his career high was 33 before the whereabouts suspension and before he had double wrist surgery. So again, he didn't have he and he was so young, like 21, just kind of coming on the scene, maybe didn't have time to establish himself to the point where people are like, "What's Jenson Brooksby gonna do when he comes back from his 2-year layoff?" But what he's been able to do has been pretty impressive, and what he did in Houston was absolutely mind-boggling. He saved match points, came through qualifying, saved match points in 3 of his 7 matches. I think 4 of the 7 were 3 sets. Like, physically and Tommy Paul was one of the players who he saved a match point against, went on to win it in a 3rd set tiebreak, his 2nd third set tiebreak win of the week. And Tommy, in his prior post-match interview, said, "I feel like he's got a lot of miles on the body this week," which I don't think Tommy went in thinking, well, he's not gonna be able to move, but I mean, I didn't go into that match thinking that Jensen was gonna be able to put up the fight that he did over the course of a 3-hour tiebreak in the 3rd match. So anyway, unbelievable the way that he is able to play. He would be such a nightmare because he's able to redirect the ball in a way that not many players are able to, and it reminds me, of his okay, I don't know if you guys know about his ping pong background.
I've heard about it
Like
actually.
this year. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he grew up in Sacramento and was, like, close to the local, like, ping pong club. I don't know what the correct term is, but, like, the national champions of ping pong were training at this place, and as a kid, Jensen would play ping pong and, like, do well against these national champions, and that is kind of the way that he plays tennis. He's able to redirect it and it doesn't really look pretty. It's not it's not the strokes aren't the prettiest. His serve isn't the hardest, but he is able to place it in a way that confounds his opponents. And I also think back on that note to the Australian Open, and I know David Law has talked a lot about it on the tennis podcast, but I happen to be standing right there when he was asking Ben Shelton about Jenson Brooksby and about training with him at the USTA national campus. And the way that Ben described how awful it is to play Jensen when he's playing well was so entertaining. Like, essentially saying, "Geez, like, best of luck to whoever faces him." And you think back to Australia, he got absolutely waxed by Taylor Fritz, and so people are thinking, "Yeah, he's never gonna overcome the fact that his serve isn't great, blah, blah, blah." He finds a way. He's gotten his mental toughness and match toughness, and I think people should watch out, and the fact that he can do it on multiple surfaces. Anyway, that was my that was my TED Talk on Jenson Brooksby. He's so much fun to watch, and then to add to all of that, he was able to win his first title, it was his 4th final, during Autism Awareness
Wow.
Month, and that like, it gives me chills just to say it because I think I probably did Jenson's first ever post-match interview because his tour level debut was in Newport, I believe, in 2021, and he made it to the final, and again, listen, post-match interviews can be tough for any young player, but he was clearly not the most comfortable with them. He was like a different person in Houston, and I don't know if it was the time away. He has a new coaching situation. Huge credit to Ryan Williams, who's done an incredible job. Couldn't be more laid back as a human. I don't know if that's a piece of the puzzle, but was so relaxed, no frustration, showed 0 frustration throughout 7 singles matches. It was fascinating because he was negative at times, like, really negative on court, and I had seen that in person. It was like he was a new human, and his post-match interviews were so good. He was able to bring in the crowd. He was smiling. He just looked so comfortable. And for him to be able to overcome what he has and not only do it on the tennis court, but do it in a way that can connect with other people. And the interview is a very small piece of that, but for me to have seen it from the very beginning to what we saw in Houston was special and meaningful for me too, outside looking in.
Yeah, look, I think it's been kind of incredible to see him sort of turn himself into a bit of a spokesman for autism awareness as well. Heard a couple quotes after that tournament, which he was great. You've worked so many of these events hosting. I sometimes think back to obviously you drawing out Dennis Shapovalov with the rap verse way back way back when. That's kind of like the Canadian Mike moment. But there's been so many, great moments and quotes you've drawn from players. I'm wondering, maybe it's Houston or another tournament, who's a player you've interacted with that you can say is maybe unexpectedly hilarious, down to earth, where you weren't anticipating, and they left you sort of laughing or humbled or however it went.
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what's funny? I because I had just done some stuff with the Nothing Major guys,
Yeah.
I like to think, not to toot my own horn, but I like to think that I was one of the first Sam Querrey apologists because Sam was always such a good interview, and people were like, "Is he really though?" Because it's hard sometimes, I think, for people to separate game style from personality if they've never seen it up close. So they tend to, John Isner is another one who is, again, a great interview, but I think if you had only seen him play tennis, you might be tempted to say, "Oh, well, serve bot," it's just straight down the line, but again, very thoughtful, and I thought Sam was the same way. That's kind of a random reference, but it was something that I was thinking about recently. I'm trying to think of a more current, player. Oh gosh, okay, we may have to come back to this. I wanna think
That's
about
fair.
it. I'm sure I have an answer for you. Because I love seeing the progression. That is one of the things that I get so excited about when, say, maybe I do a first interview and I'm like, "Oh, like, you could tell that was the first was the first interview." And then they've seen you before,
Yeah,
they know
they know
the
you.
drill, they know that they're gonna sign balls afterward, and, yeah, and then it becomes they just get more comfortable, and so I get personally excited when I see that, but I'm trying to think of a specific example.
Remind me which player it was who you asked them their relationship to clay, and they started talking about their trainer, um, rather than Stupas. Zizou. Okay, it was Zizou Burks. That's right. Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along. Hit the subscribe button below.